Giving all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai for the reading and the understanding of the scriptures. This is the Shema with your bro Shi'yah, and this is my brother Gabar. How you doing, brother?
All praise, man. I'm good. I had a fast, easy, and smooth day, so I no complaints right here, man.
That's good, man. Hey,
Yeah.
man, today we're going to talk about the situation that happened in Alabama on the board on that Riverwalk, man.
I already knew it.
We're going to talk about it because there was a lot of people, they didn't understand the spiritual stuff that was really happening, that was going on in that situation. They really don't understand really what's going on. I'm glad to see our brothers coming together. I'm glad to see that when those Edomites started to attack our brother, I'm glad that the brothers came, unified and came together. That was wonderful. They're naming one of the brothers the Concerto. I'm not gonna say which one, but they called him the Concerto. I've seen about 100 memes of this situation.
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of talk about us waking up. All of us trying to wake up because we know that something is going on. We know that things are happening. The Bible talks about race wars. It talks about that if you're found, every person that's found will be thrust through with the enemy, blah, blah, blah. So it's a lot of stuff going on, but I think our job is to keep our people's minds in the right direction, if that makes sense. We're going to try to keep their minds, look, the only way we can really truly unify is going to be through these law, statutes, and commandments and coming together. And I'm glad to see that happened, that the people did kind of unify and they were trying to jump on the dude. They did come save him. The dude jumped in the water and swim. That's wonderful. It's deeper than that, though. Did you know that port that they were fighting on? Did you know there was a slave port?
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes.
That's deep, brother.
That's deep. Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's pretty deep. And when you look at it from a spiritual eye, you like, damn.
Right.
Like it messes you up because you like, man. So, woo.
Right.
And so to see our brothers and sisters, do that is good. So what we're gonna do is, and if you got anything to add, you let me know.
Yes, sir.
What we're gonna do is the first scripture we're gonna go to is gonna be 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 11. We're gonna start at verse 11 today. Because we want to always make sure that we don't give in to the folly, to the ruckus of it all. We want to always keep ourselves in the right spirit with the Most High. But I can't say that the nigga didn't come out of me when I was seeing that stuff. When I was seeing
man,
the nigga didn't come out because it just.
I wanted it. I wanted that. I was like, man, oh my God.
I'm not gonna tell you that because it did, man. It did, and it should be something like that in all of our brothers.
All of it. Yes, it sure should. It sure should. Yes, sir.
That goes for us in Israel that are beefing, that are having beefs with one another, not liking each other. That goes for camp beefs. That goes for people that are trying not to love on their brothers and sisters the right way. Those brothers who can't forgive. That's something very serious. That's something we have to understand and we have to get past. Okay. So that being said, we're gonna read this. Go ahead and read that when you get it.
You said 2 Corinthians 5 and what?
And 5 and 11.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 11. Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God, and I trust also are made manifest in your conscience.
So we said, knowing the terror. It says, knowing therefore the terror of God, we persuade men. So we know what's to come. We know the future. Most of us that read this Bible and study this Bible, we understand the future. We understand what's going to happen. So those people that was fighting, we need to. Oh yeah, brother, we good, we unified, but we need to make them. We need to make known the terrors of the Most High God. We need to make known, yeah, y'all unified, but now you need to repent. Y'all are unified, right. You need to come together.
Right.
So it's great to be unified, and I want us to be, and it has to start somewhere. But now we need to try to talk to our people and wake as many of our people up as we can, right? Read that next verse.
Verse 12. For we commend not ourselves again unto you, but give you occasion to glory on our behalf.
So go ahead. When we are glorying, it's fine, but we don't give ourselves occasion. But we're not going to glory on our own glory. We're going to glory on His glory. So it should be His glory. We had a little time to celebrate, but we need to give Most High the glory, right? That it didn't turn out as worse as it was, right? But go ahead.
That ye may have somewhat to answer them which glory in appearance and not in heart.
So yes, it appeared to be, some things happening, and I'm glad. And I want to say this: I'm glad nobody got shot. I'm glad nobody died. I'm glad it didn't come to something very severe, because it could have easily turned into that. Because the police there, we know that the police department in Alabama don't have a really good relationship with Black people there. We understand a lot of things that have happened. So we have to really thank the Most High that He didn't put that spirit on them, the authorities to do something worse. Oh boy, the concerto, like they said, he's going to jail. He was going to jail because what he did, whatever. But I'm just glad nobody got really, really hurt. You know what I mean? But go ahead, read that next verse.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 13. For whether we be beside ourselves, it is to God, or whether we be sober, it is for your cause.
So it says, whether we be beside ourselves, it should be to God. Sometimes we do get a little besides ourselves. Sometimes we get a little razzle dazzle, but we have to remember to stay focused on the Most High. We got to remember to keep these laws. And even the second verse, when it says, or whether we be sober, it is for your cause. So we are sober for our benefit. You know what I'm saying? So we got to remember these things to be very level-headed, because it's easy to it's easy for me to go into that old man. It's very easy for me to be that old man, to be that nigga. Very easy. And we got to make sure that we're not doing these things in vain. My wife said, I came in the house the other day and my wife was like, I need to show you something. And I'm like, what you need to show me?
Right.
Look at this. And she showed me the clip of what was going on or whatever. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like, damn. Okay. And so we have to remember to keep ourselves humble, keep ourselves out of those type of things, Very easy for us to do these things and be out of the spirit, be way out of the spirit, And I just want to urge our brothers and sisters to remember to stay in the spirit, right? And we know we've been oppressed for a long time, and I'm not going to tell you that when you get down sometime that it don't feel good. I'm not going to tell you when you finally see a good ass whooping that it don't like. I'm not here for that today. I'm not here for that today. I'm here to read the word today and here to give you understanding today, but I'm not here to tell you, oh, brothers, we just look. Even us that are destroyed, even us that think we know the truth, we all are oppressed. We all have something in us. We all have this feeling in us that things are not right in this world for us. We are very, very, very oppressed. And so when you see stuff like that as a black man, you be like, hell yeah, like, yeah, like it's what it is, y'all. It's what it is. And I don't want to sell you guys a fake dream. I don't want to pretend to you guys that, I'm just above that. And no, nobody ain't above that. Like, it's just not. But everything has to be done decently and in order, and we got to remember that the only way we can get back right with the Most High God is through these scriptures, y'all. That's the only way we can get back right with them, is making sure that we keep it holding tight to the law, statutes, and commandments, and just telling our brothers and sisters about it. Telling our brothers and sisters that, hey man, y'all are Israelites. We look at life a little bit different. When I seen that dude jump in that water, over there, I did feel something.
Yeah.
it did make me feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
When I seen the concerto do his orchestra symphony, I did feel some type of way. When I seen the Edomite get pushed in the water, I did feel some type of way.
Yes,
I did feel some type of way. But like I said, but it was for my people. It's my people, and my people are. We're waking up. I'm gonna tell y'all this before we continue. We are waking up. Not really for me. We just wait. We slumbered so long, but we are waking up. We're waking up to righteousness. I want to go to Romans chapter 10 in verse 1. Get that real quick. Let's get that real quick. Let's see what that say.
The book of Romans chapter 10 verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
My desire is for my people to be saved. That was Paul's desire. My desire is for when I seen those people standing up, and I don't even think they knew that brother. They didn't know that dude. They just seen a black dude getting jumped on by all these Edomites, and they came to his rescue. Yeah. And my desire. Read the next verse.
Romans chapter 10, verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge.
Because our people do have a zeal of God, but they don't have it according to the knowledge. What we got to do is teach. We have the togetherness, but we have to teach them these laws, statutes, and commandments. They have to know that gathering together, and see, if we was gathering together, it wouldn't be no situation. See, that we was gathered together like that, if we was joined as one, them Edomites wouldn't have never done that.
They never even tried it.
Clicked up, and then we was out. If there was a Chinese man with his family and with his whole family, he would have never hit that Chinese dude because he knew that them Chinese people would have been all on his ass.
All upside his head. Hell yeah.
Chopsocky flips all over that dude's head.
That dude head.
You know, and that's what keeps us safe, is us having that unity together, that unity, that love for each other. That's what actually keeps us safe, right? Read the next verse.
Hey, you know what? And really, when you look at it, when they was all down, they was fierce when they was whooping on that brother. Yep. As soon as they seen all them brothers over there, you could see them trying to explain and politic it out real quick. Yep. No, we ain't here for that. We here to get this in right now.
Right. Right.
You didn't have nothing to say before. We don't got nothing to say now. Let's get this in right now.
You wasn't politicking when y'all was jumping on that man. Y'all wasn't politicking then.
So so let's finish what you was doing.
Right.
Exactly. Hey, and they didn't want that, and so they didn't want that then. But that also goes into, a while ago, I had did a lesson on the Valley of Dry Bones, and I was saying how different stages, when you read in the Valley of Dry Bones, you'll see it's different every time he prophesying, and you see in the body form the great army, as it says in Ezekiel. As you see it forming, those are different stages of us coming together.
That's right.
And so what you'll see is we may come together, and that's what happened in the 60s. Think about the 60s and the 70s. You'll see the Nation of Islam. You see the Black Panthers. You see the Brown Berets. You see all these things. You see us coming together, but for some strange reason, we couldn't get the job done.
Right.
The reason we couldn't get the job done is we didn't have the Most High in Christ and these commandments to guide us and direct us and protect us. And without that, it don't matter the unity for us. It doesn't matter the unity. It doesn't matter the togetherness. If we don't have the Most High Christ in this word, then we're going to be lacking the main power source that gets us the win every time.
Main ingredient, brother. That's the main ingredient. And you're so right, brother, because we have to have the Most High God in this. We got to make sure, y'all, that we keep the Most High God in this. Now, sometimes it's going to be time to get like I'm telling y'all, like, I'm not here to say, oh, brothers, we got to be. I'm not here to say kumbaya today. I don't want y'all to think that by any means, because sometimes it's time. It be time to get down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not listening, and I be telling people, even when I used to go to the streets and teach and stuff, and people get a little rowdy and stuff, I be telling people to say, bro, I ain't no Christian now, bro. And when I say no Christian, like, they understand the term. Like, nigga, I ain't no Christian. Like, I'm reading this Bible, but I'm not that jive Christian. Nigga. Like, I'm getting your ass. Like, I'm just trying to, and they understood the way I said it, because we're Christians in the sense that we do what Christ said do. But we're not Christians in the sense of Christianity. Right. Because we don't practice Christianity. I was watching a street teaching just the other day, and the guy was trying to teach him, and he was kind of, he was teaching him good, but he was a little bit rough around the edges, talking about the teacher. And he said, yeah, because that shit right there is not cool. And, oh, brother, you cussed. You a cusser. You just sin right there. And I'm like, dude, you guys are idiots. You guys are idiots. And he's like, bro, he said, that's not a cuss word. If you say hell, damn, shit, if you hit stub your toe and say, damn, fuck, or if you say whatever you say, those are not considered to be cuss words. That's not what it's about. It's cussing.
It's not the same thing. Yeah.
It's not the same thing. Because you can find in the New Testament where he's calling a man a dumbass. Dumbass is in the Bible. So somebody says, yeah, dumbass. And then you can go in the Bible. So Christians have this unreal perception of what righteousness is. It's not real. What they call righteousness, it's not real. So we have to relearn and reteach our people at the same time, because they have no knowledge, right? And what does Hosea 4:6 say? My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. They don't have knowledge, So we have to get out of that, But go ahead, read that next verse for me.
Romans chapter 10 and verse 3. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God.
Now, see, that's perfect. That's exactly for what we're talking about right now. Because it says, for they being ignorant of God's righteousness, and a lot of us are ignorant of God's righteousness. We don't even know what a real curse word is. We don't even know what real righteousness is according to God. I promise you that most of those people that were in that fight and it was gathering together, they probably didn't understand. If I was to go to them and ask them what righteousness was or what a cuss word was, they wouldn't know any of those things, right? So we got to focus on trying to teach our people this. There's a lot of work to be done. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm doing the work. Me and my brother, we do on Mondays, and I have a Sabbath class on the Sabbath day. And I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I'm just being honest with you. I really don't. I feel like there's more I could be doing there. I don't know. I need to be going to the streets more. I don't know. But I need to, it's like our people are so ill-informed. They're so thirsty. They need this knowledge. They need this understanding so bad. They need to know that it's a commandment. How many Christians know or understand that it's a commandment to gather together?
Gather together, right?
Brothers gather together. How do they not know it's a commandment that they have to gather together? Because we're hated among all these nations. You see how the dude was just doing his job, right? The guy was doing his job. He was at work, and he was just the dude that he couldn't park there. You need to move your boat, right? You need to move your boat, and a fight broke out because they was like, Nick, this nigga is not going to tell me nothing.
Tell me what to do, right?
Right, but if our people understood that it was a commandment for us to gather together, it would solve a lot of social problems that we have today. Okay. Can I get Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1? So we can show our people how important it is to gather our people together and show that love, man. And that's so important, you guys. Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1, because man, I'm telling y'all, if we had a hold on part of this and getting it together, getting ourselves together, we wouldn't have these race problems that we have. They know that niggas don't get down with each other.
They wouldn't even want that smoke.
They wouldn't want it. Because
they wouldn't even want that.
They know how bad we are together. That's why whenever some black people get together, they always watch us very closely.
Very closely.
Y'all need to understand that when we come together, there's power in unity. I got friends that used to be like, well, nah, bro, we not gonna have 4 niggas in the car. Like, I'll take 2 of y'all, but we can't have 4. Like, we have brothers with rules like that, with arbitrary rules like that. But no, it ain't finna be 6 of us in the car, because they know that if you more than 2, sometimes 2 brothers get stopped. But if you more than 2 brothers in the car, or 3 or 4 or 6 or whatever, that you will get pulled over by the police.
Yep.
And they say it's DWB, driving while black.
So back in LA, if you're 3 or more and you're hanging out or walking together, you're considered a gang, and they can pull you over and they can do the whole stop and search just because of that. And I used to hoop, so my friends were athletes, and so we all lived in the same neighborhood. So I would walk down the street to this friend's house, and then we would walk over to the next block and get this friend. And by the time we all get together, because we want to play basketball, it's about 8 of us, right? We're trying to play basketball, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, right? And man, it never failed. Once we got all together, once we start walking on our way to the park or to the school where we was finna go ball, it never failed. They always stopped us. They always wanted to. Man, we walked around. We got basketball shorts and tennis shoes and a ball in our hand. They didn't care. Stop, search, frisk, everything else. And it was just because they know that when they see us all together like that, that's dangerous for them.
Right.
And they don't want that.
Right. And my question is this, before we go to that next scripture, where in America have you seen a group of Jewish kids? I see Jewish kids get stopped for all being together, right? For walking down the streets, right? Where have you seen this at? You don't have. So it should show you some type of hatred or something spiritual is going on with our people, and we can't see that as spiritual, because that's very spiritual, brother. Right? Whether you know it or not, that's very for you to get stopped every time you gather with your friends. Y'all just want to play back. That's a spiritual thing. They see it, but the thing niggas can't see it because we just want to have fun, right? But go ahead and read that.
Zephaniah chapter 2 verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
He said, gather yourself together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. What nation in this world is not desired as we are? What other nation that's more or less desirable than us? You're not going to find it. You're not going to find a nation less desirable than the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. And really, blacks are at the bottom of that totem pole, because there is a pecking order, y'all. There is a pecking order, even with our Native American brothers and sisters. Now I will say they was decimated and slaughtered damn near off of the reservation, right? They have done atrocities to all our people, right? But the people that are most disenfranchised, and I say, and all of us are mentally jacked up, but in the minds, because I've talked to Native Americans, and they'll look and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm an Israelite, huh? You telling me I'm an Israelite?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, you Israelite." I've talked to different Hispanics, and they're receptive. But the only people that I have talked to me was niggas. I've never got into a fist fight with anybody or almost shoot with anybody that was Native American or Hispanic. But anytime I try to tell a Judite that he is the greatest thing in the world, that the good stuff and what the Bible say, I've gotten into almost physical confrontation. We are the most destroyed people in the world, y'all. God. Go ahead, read the rest of that. I'm sorry.
You want me to read verse 2?
Oh, yeah. Gotta have it.
Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 2. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the shaft, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
Oh, before we get destroyed, we have to gather together, y'all. Before things happen, before things get any worse than it is now, we have to gather together. And y'all got to understand it is a command. Like them or not. Read that next verse. Read verse 3. Watch this.
Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 3. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgments. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger.
He says, seek the Lord. Right now, you need to seek the Lord while he can be found. You need to seek righteousness. You need to seek meekness. And he says, it says, while he can be found, it says, before the anger of the Lord, you may be hidden, or you may have rest or restitude from that anger, from that judgment. So that's a very important precept for us to understand. And it's speaking directly to our people about what we need to do.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And it's talking to us. Could you do me a favor? Go to Deuteronomy, where I think it's 28 and 48, where I want to get the one where it says that he should put a yoke of iron on
Got you. Can I get something before we go there?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, man, for some strange reason, me and this brother, man, we like peanut butter and jelly. We go together really well. And so it's so funny that you went to Zephaniah, because I have this precept with Zephaniah, because they're peanut butter and jelly scriptures, right? They precept each other really well. Go to Joel chapter 2.
Excellent scripture.
And give me verse 16. Actually, start at verse 15.
Joel chapter 2 and verse 15.
Yes, sir.
This is the book of Joel chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, blow the trumpet in Zion.
Why are we going to blow that trumpet? Read.
Sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly.
We need to assemble. I don't know how old some of you guys are there, but if you about my age, do you remember Voltron?
Yes.
They formed together. They assembled together, right? And once they came together, boy, it was a wrap, right?
Yep.
That's us. But we got to come together with this righteousness.
That's right.
Because when we come together without it, something's lacking. Like my brother said, the main ingredient is lacking, and we don't quite end up on top. Read on for me.
Verse 16. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast.
So stop right there. So if you notice, he's calling everyone together. He's not leaving nobody out. Look at verse 16. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation. That's the assembly as a whole in its totality, right? Assemble the elders. Then who we say? Gather who? The children.
Yep.
And those that he's saying, you get from the oldest to the middle age. You know, you get the baby that sucked. You get all my people together.
That's right.
This is what he's saying. Read that last part for me.
Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Woo!
And understand that it's saying that so the bridegroom is Christ.
That's right.
We're the bride. So it's saying we got to come together, gather together, nation, and come together with Christ, our bridegroom.
That's right.
And how do we do that? How do we gather to Christ? We got to understand his words. We got to follow his footsteps. We got to keep these commandments. This is what's going to set us on. This is what, when you read in verse 16 and in 15, when it says sanctify, that's what's going to sanctify us, is this word.
That's right.
Coming into these commandments is going to sanctify us. It's going to strengthen us. It's going to provide for us. It's going to protect us. Gather together first, and then we can hash out all the little differences, the little knickknacks, all of that. So we can hash all that out. But if we not gathered together and we separate it, we'll never be able to squash our differences.
Yep.
We'll never be able to gain the understanding. We'll never say, you know what, you right, brother. I read that wrong. Let's go forward from there. And that's what's needed. That's all I wanted to.
No, that's an excellent precept, brother. Because and I'm gonna tell you this. I just met, because I was at the doctor's. I had a doctor's appointment today, and I met a brother. I was lost in my doctor's appointment. I was trying to get to the place, right? And the brother got out of the truck. He was working. I think he was like a carrier dude, and he was an Israelite. And he said, because he seen my friends. He said, you an Israelite? I was like, yes. He said, let me ask you something. He said, do you believe in Christ? And I'm like, damn. I said, brother, I studied the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelations with no hesitations. That's what I do. He was like, well, you know, I said, brother, I do everything the Messiah say do. Everything he say don't do, I don't do. I follow Christ, Yahushua, whatever you want to call him, to the letter. I do everything he say do, right? And and I realized that he asked me that because I think he ran into some Israelites that was on some other doctrine. And I think he wanted to make sure that I was, believing. He said, well, I do too. He said, I believe in the same thing too. And I gave him the link to the channel or whatever. But you're right. We do have to gather together to get that stuff like that out of there. We have to make sure that we're feeding our brothers and sisters with the correct bread. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are Israelites on some BS. There are Israelites, and I ain't gonna say on BS, they just destroy, they just don't know. And we have to bring this truth in its totality, in its correctness, in its righteousness to all our people, man. You know, to all our people. You got anything else on that? I mean, you want to read more on that? Or?
No. That was it. That was it.
All praises. And I want where it tells us, and I think it's chapter 40, Deuteronomy chapter 28, in verse
48.
48. That's what I want. That's what I want.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things.
When it says hunger, nakedness, thirst, want of all things, we know who that is. We are subservient to our enemies today, until this day, for food, for water, and for clothing, and for rent. Okay, go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Because when it's saying the yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee, that's showing us that we were in chattel slavery, because that's what that yoke is about, right? But when that chattel slavery ended and they took that yoke off our necks, we were mentally destroyed. We had no knowledge of self. We had no knowledge of anything. All we wanted to do was have peace in our life. All we wanted to do was unify the best way we could. That's why we were singing in the 60s and 70s, we shall overcome. That's why we were trying to be as nice as we could to everybody, be a model citizen to everybody, and try to make sure that we didn't do nothing wrong. And we kept getting our asses whipped throughout the time after slavery. We kept getting our asses whipped. After slavery, we had 100 years of Jim Crow. After slavery, it was 100 years of Jim Crow. After Jim Crow ended, they still was like, man, forget y'all niggas. Now they've started another campaign that's working very well, y'all. The campaign that they've started right now is we all one people. Every time you see a commercial, it's an Israelite woman with an Edomite man, or Edomite man with an Israelite, woman, or it's vice versa. And progression. We think that that's good, that's progression, right? And that's not progression when they getting you to taint the holy seed, because you don't realize that you're a holy seed. You don't realize that you're God's people above all other nations in the world.
That's right.
And that's why I went there to give you guys that scripture, because when that yoke came off, man, we were totally destroyed, right? I want you got anything?
Nope.
I want to go to Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1. Go to Ephesians real quick. Chapter 2 and verse 1. Because we got to get ourselves back in the righteousness of the Most High. We got to get ourselves right, man. We got to start practicing it, living it.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 1. And you hath he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins.
Stop right there. When he quickened us, we were dead. When he quickened means to make alive, right? But now he's made us alive. And before we came back to life, we were dead in trespasses and sins. In the 60s and 70s, we were still dead in trespasses and sins. And when we was in slavery, when we was in Jim Crow, we were dead in trespasses and sins. We were dead in all of those things. We had no knowledge of self, right? And the only way you can start coming back to the Lord is you got to remember who you are. You got to know that you're an Israelite. Well, what does it mean that I'm an Israelite? It don't matter. Yes, that's one of the most important things you need to know, is that you are a dang Israelite. And people think it's not important, but it is important. It's very important, right? Read the next verse.
Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2. Wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
So that's the spirit that we was working in. We was working according to, when we were going through all these things, we were working according to the prince of the power of the air. We thought that being prestigious was having a college degree, having something being accredited by the white man, We thought that was something that we made it. We got it, right? But we were walking according to the prince of the power of the air. Who is the prince of the power of the air? The Bible is going to tell you that that's Esau. That it is what it is, you know. And we have to rise above that. We have to realize our royalness. We've been seeking so long to have equality when the Bible says that we are above our enemies. We are above them, right? What is that? There's a scripture in Ecclesiastes that said, "I've seen servants on horses and princes on foot."
And princes on, well, man.
I want you to get that one after you read this, if you can find it, because that's a very, very important precept for us to understand, because they don't understand it. He's talking about, he's basically saying, I've seen the other nations or Edomites or whoever on horses, right? And I've seen Israelites walking on foot, standing next to this dude, man.
Yeah, it's a statue that depicts it very well.
Yeah,
I know you know what I'm talking about too.
Exactly what you're talking about. He got it's a Judite on one side and a Native American on this side.
On the other side,
and he got his chest all out, and he's holding the horse. He up on the horse like with his chest stuck out, and he just like looking powerful, you know. Very powerful looking depiction of him conquering our people.
Right?
And we don't understand what that statue means. If you not
really don't.
You're not going to even understand the statue if you're not really woke. And even people now, I'm going to say this, to be fair. Even people now that are not so-called woke can understand what that statue means.
They get it. But when people say, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg, people really, they use that term, but they don't really understand what you're saying when it's being used. And just to see that statue and to not really know it, not to know Ecclesiastes 10:7,
right?
That means that you're only getting the tip of the iceberg on that.
Right. Exactly. You're not getting it. Read that.
Did you want me to read one?
Oh, I want you to read Ecclesiastes 10:7. But before we get that, we're gonna read a little bit more into the next verse in Ephesians. Go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3. Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh.
Yes.
Fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others.
So do you understand what that's telling us? We were the children of wrath. We were doing everything in our flesh. And that's where when we got destroyed, when those yokes came out, we were taught to do everything in our flesh according to how our enemy wanted us to do it. We were taught to act a certain way in our flesh. And as far as I understand it, man, he's done an excellent job in destroying us, brother. He's done a really good job in making us want the things that he has. All the things that he considers to be prestigious in this world, we all covet after them. We all want the prettiest car because he says it's the best car. We all want the nicest house or the nicest part of town to live in because he say this is where we live. Every time we get in a situation to where we're moving on up, you know, like George and Wheezy, right? And we start moving to certain neighborhoods. In a few years, if your income is not at a certain level, you see them move out. You'll see them move away. And in a few years, the whole neighborhood will go down. You know, and I've experienced that. I bought my first house in 1996 in Northeast Dallas. Stayed there for 9 years, and it was Edomites on both sides of me. Eventually, they both left because they didn't want to live next to me, and the neighborhood did go down because it was impoverished. When you impoverish any people, they are going to lash out. You are going to have a worse quality of life when you don't have the income of other people. When the average income is $10,000 in the neighborhood, you got to know that it's not going to be great.
Right. Yes, sir.
Great. But go ahead. I want you to go to.
Now you want me to hit Ecclesiastes?
Yes.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
You see that? It says, I've seen servants on horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. That is talking about our people. That is talking about the current condition that we've been in for hundreds of years. for hundreds of years. And for us to make a move, we got to come together, because let me tell y'all something. We went into this captivity together. We're not going to come out of this captivity being individualites.
Nope.
There are people that are my brothers and sisters that I don't like them per se. You understand? I don't like them per se. I'm not going to tell you I love everybody like I love Gabar over here, because that's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. But there are people that I do understand are Israelites, and they are my brothers and sisters, and I do have to love them, and I do have to show them respect. And that's where we have to get with each other. We have to man up and woman up, mature up, and understand that even though we don't just have those ooey gooey feelings for all our people, those are still our people. Okay? And we have to understand that. What did David say when he found out that the Edomite dude smited his
man. What are you telling me, man? You did what to the Lord's anointed?
You did. What did you do to the Lord's anointed?
Hey, he wasn't feeling that.
He wasn't feeling it, because
he wasn't feeling that.
David, even though Saul was trying to kill David, right? Saul was very jealous of David because, and here's the thing, and we experience this all the time, you guys. We experience this all the time. We have people who are more anointed than other people. We have Israelites that are more versed or more, I'm not talking about precepts per se, but just my light might shine real hard than another brother's. And for that reason, he don't like me. That is a very common thing that happens in our nation. Yes, one brother light shine a little bit more than the others, and the other brother may have a higher position than him. He might be something of a captain or a deacon or whatever he called himself, but he looking at this other brother that don't have any title, but he see his light is shining really hard. I've seen that a lot, and I see it. Sometimes the spirit of jealousy or covetousness will come up on the guy who has the position, looking at the guy's light. And he'll never admit it, because let me tell you something, good boy. I've even addressed it to a brother looking at a situation. I've addressed, say, man, so and so and so. No, that ain't what it is. And you like, no, that is what it is.
No, I see it. That's what it is. Right.
It is. Right. And I'm one of those brothers that I would get in trouble, because you know me, I'm very blunt, and I've had to learn how to control my speech, because if I see something, I say something. And I've said something at times, and because I've asked that question to other brothers, this nigga think he's something. I've gotten hatred or people that kind of shunned away from me because I see those things. I understand those things, and we have to know that. Look, people are going to shine, just like Saul knew that God was blessing David. Right? He didn't want to give his daughter to David, but the woman loved him, and he was a dude, and he was a anointed dude, right?
And he couldn't deny him.
He couldn't deny him. Yeah, because he was such a great dude, and then all the servants loved him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's something that it happens like that, man. I want you to go to 1 Samuel chapter 15. I want to get some of that. I want to get some of that. And I think is it chapter 15? I think it's second. No, you know what? It's 2 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 11. I think that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. It's 2 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 11. I want to read it to let our people understand what we're talking about. 2 Samuel chapter 1, and I want to start at verse 11.
The book of 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 11. Then David took hold on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him.
This is after David found out that Saul was murdered and killed. Go ahead.
And they mourned and wept and fasted until even for Saul and for Jonathan, his son, and for the people of the Lord and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword.
Because Jonathan was the son of Saul. Jonathan was a good friend to David. Jonathan really loved David, but his daddy was tripping. So he had to really do what his daddy say, like listen to his father rather than, and that's really what caused Jonathan to get killed too, was the jealousy or the actions of Saul. But go ahead.
2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 13. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite.
An Amalekite is a white boy. Just to let y'all know, to put it in layman's terms, an Amalekite, he said, I'm the son of a stranger. I'm an Amalekite. He's a white boy. But go ahead.
To make it more plain, he's a Jewish white boy.
Exactly.
Let's make sure we understand.
Exactly.
When we ain't talking about us as the Jew, we talking about with the curly lock, with the black hat and all of that.
That's right.
The imposter.
That's right. The phony below.
Verse 14. And David said unto him, how wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?
So he said, now you got to understand, all the world understood that we was the anointed at this time. The world, the planet knew that Israel was what that was. And that's why I think that this educational system is trash, because they won't ever tell you that at one point everybody knew that Israel was what that was. He said, well, how did you think to yourself to stretch forth your hand? Even though this man hated him and was trying to kill him and trying to murder him, he was still an Israelite. That's the mentality that we need to have for our own brothers today. It's great that we had unity coming together at the Riverwalk in Alabama, but we need to have that kind of unity right now. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. So
David told one of the young men, one of the young Israelite men, he said, say, man, go over there and kill old boy, man. Go over and go ahead. When he said smote him, go ahead and smote him. And he ran that sword through him and killed him. You understand? For touching God's anointed. Read verse 16.
Verse 16. And David said unto him, thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth has testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed.
So the white boy was really slick. He was really like boasting a little bit about him killing Saul and Jonathan. He was boasting a little bit about what happened, and that's what made it bad for him. Because he was like, yeah, don't put your mouth against none of my people, regardless. And that right now we don't have that attitude with our own people. You know, we don't have the attitude. Look, me and you are into it, Gabar, but if this other dudes from another nation start talking, I know we ain't cool now. Me and Gabar not cool now, but you're not going to say nothing.
But you don't get in our right, exactly. So growing up, I had my best friend as a teenager. He had brothers and sisters, and we all from the same neighborhood. So we were at the park one day, a whole bunch of people at the park, and my best friend and his older brother had got into it. New guy in the neighborhood. Now we all liked and accepted him, but he's new to the neighborhood. And one thing in our neighborhood we understood is you don't get in a mess.
Right.
They brothers, they fight all the time. They argue all day. They argue all night. As soon as you put your nose in it, they own you.
Right.
Together, they're on you. So stay out of their mess. We all knew that. And soon as them dudes got to pushing each other and they was talking loud, listen, they brothers, they fight all the time. As soon as this one dude got into it, boy, it was not good. It was like, okay, we're gonna have to get them off of him now.
Right.
And that's exactly what our problem is if we have an issue, yes, another nation can come in, we'll let them come in, and guess what? We'll let them come in and try to solve our problem.
Yep.
That's out of bounds, man.
Yeah. We'll let them solve our problem.
No, don't solve. Listen, you can't solve our problem. Stay out of me and my brother's shit.
Exactly. You go over there. You go back over there.
You go.
You go back over there and let us do. And see, that's the thing that we have to get back to. We have to get back to loving each other and talking to each other and really respecting each other like that. But sometimes we burn a lot of bridges. We burn a lot of, they don't want to talk to each other no more. We don't want to, we just have such bad blood amongst each other, and we shouldn't be like that. We just shouldn't do it. I want you to go to Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 7. Because we've gotten that curse so bad on us, man, and we just got to get better.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking for us to get better, man. And I'm hoping these scriptures can help heal our people.
You said 2 and 7?
Yeah, Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 7.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 7. And I brought you into a plentiful country.
Go to verse 9. I apologize. 2 and 9.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 9. Wherefore I will yet plead with you, saith the Lord, and with your children's children will I plead.
So he's going to plead with us with our children and our children's children. He's going to always keep the door open for us to come back and do what he said. Go ahead.
For pass over the isles of Chittim and see, and send unto Kedar, and consider diligently and see if there be such a thing.
Watch this. So the people of Chittim, those are the so-called Romans. Those are white people. Okay. Mm-hmm. The people of Kedar are the so-called Arabs. So he's telling us, he's giving two other different races of people right here, right? Because we always go into wanting to be like these other people right here. But watch what he says. Read this.
And consider diligently and see if there be such a thing. Hath a nation changed their gods, and which are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit.
So he says, have the people changed their gods? When have these people ever started worshiping the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? When have these people have come? When have these people, the Arabs or the Chittimites or the other white people, when have they started worshiping our God? The answer is that is never. They have never done that. So our people. So it says on this last verse, it says, but my people have changed their glory for that which does not profit. So every time we want to mix in and get in cool and try to become one with them, it never profits us. It never profits us. It's never nothing good, right? Read the next verse.
Verse 12. Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be very desolate, saith the Lord.
So be astonished. So we're supposed to be astonished when we see us trying to mix in and go in with them other people and act like them. We need to be very afraid of what the Lord had originally told us what not to do with these other nations, but we think it's a joke. We think it's just what that is, right? Read the next verse. Watch it.
Hey, you know what's funny? Look at the two nations that he's calling out, right? And if you pay attention spiritually or religiously, depending on how you want to word it, he said Chittim. You said Chittim are the Romans, right?
Yep.
And then you said Kedar the Arabs, right?
That's right.
What are two religions that Judah is caught up in most? Roman Catholic Church and Islam.
Yep.
Look at who he's using right now. Look at who he's like. You want to hold on to them so bad, it's not going to benefit you,
bro. Woo! You are so right. Listen, I've heard more than two so-called Muslim brothers that are Israelites tell me, because I contend for the faith all the time, right? Yet more than two of them tell me, brother, everything you telling me sound right. It sound good. You ain't said not one thing wrong. And they can't even go in the Quran and because I study the Quran so I can battle them, right? Everything you said is good, brother. He said, but I'm happy with my faith. I'm happy with how things are going for me.
Oh, okay.
And they don't want to come out of being a Muslim because it's working for them. And I know Christianity is a bad drug too, but it is a horrible drug. But you can confound a Christian way easier because they can't defend what they say. But when it comes to Muslim brothers and sisters, it don't even have to make sense to them. They just have to feel that it's right.
Yeah.
It's a difference. As long as they feel the same feelings when they do their little chants and stuff, they good. They don't. A lot of them, and I'm not saying for all of them, but a lot of them, they don't. I have never met a person that was into being a Muslim be able to successfully defend and show no. See, they don't care about that. That's not what they there for. Therefore, they're there for the discipline. They're there for the camaraderie. They have a brotherhood there, and they're not giving it up because it feel right. Right. Give it up. Even with Christianity, there's no really brotherhood there. I mean, you go into church, but it's not as much brotherhood in Christianity as it is in being a Muslim. It ain't.
No, it is sure not. No, it is not. I agree with that.
So we got to watch those things, and you got to be able to contend for this faith. We got to understand how to fight for this faith, how to articulate what you say. And even though some people say, because I had two dudes that was Muslims, and I wasn't trying to run them off in my barbershop. But one of them grew up with my oldest sons, and graduated high school, and he has a son, and he became a Muslim, and he was like, man, everything sounds good, but I just want to do what I want to do. He stopped coming to me. He stopped getting his son's haircut because his hair fell out and he just got a beard, but he stopped getting his haircut. So he used to bring his little son to me. So he don't bring his little son to me no more because we was having a conversation and I was giving him that work. And he just didn't, he was like, yeah, I'm just not gonna come to him.
I just can't do that. Hey, we plant the seed and leave it.
Because I could give a damn about you getting your haircut. I'd rather save your soul.
That's right. That's right.
It is what it is. Read the next verse for me.
Where are we at in verse
13?
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 13. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the foundation of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water.
Those cisterns or those philosophies or those thoughts, just like I'm saying with those Muslims, they have broken. I'm talking about the ones that are our people. Those are broken cisterns that can't bring you no water. Our people have made something to try to be. We want camaraderie so bad, we will do anything to get it. And he says, my people have two evils. He said they have broken the fountain, the fountain of living water. What is the fountain of living water? They've walked away from God's law, statutes, and commandments. We broke the fountain of living water. We don't have it. And what's worse, we don't want it. We don't really want it, right? And in those cisterns of water, when we say broken water, they'll take companionship over knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Is worth more to some of these brothers and sisters, or just feeling needed over wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go ahead. Read the next one.
Verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
Y'all see that? And because we refuse this knowledge, because we refuse to stay with the Most High's knowledge, we are always going to be homeborn slaves. We are always going to be servants until we start coming back to the righteousness of God, until we come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, until we start doing it the right way that he's asking us to do it. And he's commanding it. He's commanding for you to do righteously, meaning keep his commandments, right? And that's why Jeremiah said, man, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeboy slave? Is that all he is?
Right.
All we are is slaves?
Right.
Because we continue to do the things we want to do, and we continue to get that same exact punishment every single time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You got anything, brother?
I do. Give me, just to nail home what the water is, give me John chapter 4 and verse, I'll just get right to it. Just give me verse 13.
This is the book of John chapter 4 and verse 13. It says, Yahushua asked and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. So
real quick backstory, of course, Christ is at a well. A woman walks up and he's like, man, give me something to drink. And she's like, man, you don't have a cup. You don't have a pail to dip into the well to get the water out of. And he's like, hey, you know what? Whosoever drink of this water right here, though, you're going to be thirsty again.
That's right.
Read on.
Verse 14. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up unto everlasting life.
When we understand that according to the commandment, it say, that if you study the commandments, you think that you have everlasting life, right?
That's right.
Because the commandment is our way into is our way into kingdom. The commandment is our way into provision and protection from the Most High here on earth right now.
Say that.
While we thinking way down the line to get to the kingdom, the Most High will provide and protect us right now if we get our stuff together.
That's right.
And we start drinking of this water, right? Now, I know I did it backwards, but it's a purpose for how I'm going to do it. Now, jump up to verse 10.
Verse 10. No, that's perfect, brother. This is John chapter 4 and verse 10. And Yahushua asked and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou would have to ask, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
Living waters. See, this is the water that's being spoken of these broken cisterns. See, the water that we getting out the broken cisterns, you know what? It's dirty. It don't last long. You know what? You got the cistern and the water, and the cistern got a hole in it. So all the water just pouring out, right? Christ is saying, man, you get this water, it's living waters. And if you know anything about waters, it's something called dead water. And dead water is poisonous water. It's the water that's just sitting. It hasn't moved around.
Moving. That's right.
It's just sitting there. And if you drink it, you'll get sick. You can even die from this water, right? Because something's in the water that's contaminating the water.
That's right.
So when we deal with real quick, not even leaving my brother's lesson, going back to chapter 2 in Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 10, when we deal with the religion of Chittim, which is Roman, the Roman Catholic Church, when we deal with the religion of Qadar, which is Islam, because they're the Arabs, guess what? Those are broken cisterns. That water is dead.
That's right.
It doesn't heal us. Yeah. It doesn't bring us life. We're always thirsting. This is why you find so many Muslims. They go from this Islam to that Islam to that Islam to that Islam, right? When you in the truth, you just in the truth.
Yeah.
Know what the commandments say? That's the first thing somebody gonna say, right?
What does the commandment say?
So we got to understand that Christ is the living water. It's good for us. It heals. It's refreshing. You no longer thirst. But this other stuff is the dead water, and that's what's making us sick. That's what's wrong with us in our mind and our heart today.
That's right.
That's what's wrong with us as a nation today.
That's right.
Go ahead. I ain't trying to quench the spirit.
I want to ask, no, you're doing perfect. I want to add something else to what my brother said. And those Muslims, they have hookah shops, they have smoke shops, they believe that smoking ain't really a sin. Now, I know there's some that may say that, but on the most part, they'll hookah it down. They'll get it in because they're not looking at sin the way that the Bible teaches us what sin is. That's defiling your temple. And there's so many Muslim cats that I know, and I know some that come into my shop, and now as far as their devotion to it, they're Muslims, and they smoke. Like we understand like a pack of cigarettes a day, a cigar, and people invite me to cigar lounge. I'm like, no, man, like that's not what that is. So we're the ones who are truly serving the Most High. We're the ones who are truly giving him, like, you know what? I'm going to keep my temple clean. I'm going to keep my mind clean. I'm going to keep everything clean. And we are the ones who are really in this fight, who are doing this. If we listen to the Most High God and do what he say do, y'all, and do it like he's asking us to do it, he's going to turn our enemies into our footstools. He's going to put the curses that are on us right now. He's going to turn them on them. And I got this last precept that's in Deuteronomy chapter 30. And I want you to read chapter 30, and I want you to start at verse 1, and you're going to read all the way to verse 7, from 1 to 7, Deuteronomy chapter 30, because this is what this is going into. This is what this is talking about. If we do like he said do, he's going to turn it all around and give that curse or give that judgment to your enemies. But we got to come do this together, y'all. We got to do this thing together, y'all. And I don't take if the Most High God tell me something, and I believe this is him telling me something in these precepts right here, I take it to the bank. This is worth more than gold. If he's telling me something, he's not going to repent on his word. He's not going to go back on his word. And this is what he's showing us. And this will be the last precept, but this is what I want to show you guys.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, starting at verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee.
So once we get understanding about the blessings and the curses, and we call them to mind, now watch this, among the other nations. So while these other races of people are watching us, the Bible says when we call them to mind in the presence of these other people, meaning I'm showing everybody I'm an Israelite. I'm showing all these people that I'm wearing my fringes. I'm keeping the Sabbath day. I'm calling the past back to mind in the presence of my enemies, in the presence of all the other nations. Read on. Watch this.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 2. And thou shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
Meaning the best of your ability, the best you can do it. He said, call to memory all of these commandments I'm telling you to do and start doing them all to the best of your ability. All of them. Keep all of them. Days, everything that you can do. Okay? Keep reading.
Verse 3, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have
God will turn thy captivity. That means he's gonna take you out of slavery. When he says turn thy captivity, he says, I'm gonna take you out of this condition. Go ahead.
And thou shalt and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee.
Woo, man. Keep up.
Read on.
Yes.
Verse 4, if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee.
Read on.
And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possess, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers.
So keeping these commandments is going to help us multiply our people above thy fathers, meaning I'm going to give you more than what your fathers had. When it says above thy fathers, that's more than David had. That's more than Solomon had. That's more than Saul had. That's more than all of the kings that have lived and had mighty kingdoms, and they all ruled for 40 years of peace, right? All of them, he said, I'm going to give you more than that. Go ahead.
Verse 6, and the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live.
Read on.
And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Hallelujah.
He said, I'm going to put all these curses on your enemies. He said, all these curses, they're gonna come up out for you, and they're going to come on your enemies. I got one question before we go, brother. In what world do you have salvation with your enemy if God is telling you that I'm going to put all these curses on your enemies? There's no world where we all are one people. There's a world where the Israelites are going to rule, or the Israelites are going to be in servitude. That is it. There is no ballot. There's no middle ground with that. You understand? Either we're going to rule or we're going to serve.
Yes,
and
sir.
I don't know about you, brother, but I would rather rule.
I would rather rule. Yes, sir.
I would rather be a ruler. I'd rather be in rulership. And it's good, like I said earlier, that we came to that brother's aid and we coming together and we posting all these memes, but we got to come together, y'all. We got to start loving on each other, and we got to start being or acting like those anointed people, like David said in chapter 15, 16, and 17. If you read first and second Samuel, if you read and understand, if we act like those anointed people and understand these things, the Most High will bless us and bring back our captivity again, meaning take us out of captivity. You understand? But that's all I got today. You got anything to add to that, brother?
Let me. You know what? I do. I have one thing I want to hit us with, and we got to understand that this is the curse. That's what happened with that brother on that dot? That's part of the curse.
That's right.
And we gotta. It's in front of us, you guys. Those of you who don't know that you're in the truth and you're tuning in, Pay attention to these commandments. Pay attention to these curses in Deuteronomy 28. It's in front of us, you guys. It's right there.
Yes, it is.
It's right there. There's no reason for us to not understand, or for us to not get it, or for us to wonder, like, I wonder what. No, you shouldn't be wondering anything. It's said, the Most High already has told us
Right
what
there.
this is, right? And give me you know the scripture where it says and you shall find no ease.
Oh, and your feet shall find no ease.
Yes, sir.
Oh man. Deuteronomy chapter
28:65.
28 and 60. Hold on.
65. I found it.
65. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you bring that out for me, Ak?
Absolutely. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 65. It says, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy feet have rest.
So so just paying attention right there, we understand that this is what we dealing with. I was watching something, and it's an Israelite brother. He's I think he was visiting like India or something like that, and the Indian dudes, the Indian police force, beating the hell, and it was well within their legal right, beating the hell out of a brother. And I ain't talking about no Hamite. He's beating the hell out of a brother in India, beating them. Listen, I just I remember when all the Russians were fleeing out of Russia, they was not gonna let no brothers or sisters get out. No, you stuck here. Whatever happened here, you stuck here. We out of here. We're never going to find ease. And the reason being is because our rest, Christ already told us that these scriptures, this is our rest.
That's right.
So we're never going to find that ease that we're searching for if we don't get back into this word. Was that all of that?
No. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart.
Now look, think about it. What happened? The brother was just saying it earlier today, how he said it'd be four brothers trying to get in the car, and somebody be like, nah, we all can't ride together.
That's right.
Out of fear of being pulled over.
That's right.
Guess what? The police hit the block. I remember when I was young, kicking in with the homies or something. You know, you at the park, y'all ain't doing nothing. Now, yeah, we probably was smoking some weed or something, but we wasn't doing nothing that was outrageously wrong. But guess what? Soon as you saw them red and blue lights, everybody scattered, everybody running, niggas hitting the fence, hitting the gate, niggas just running down the street. You think we was track stars?
Yep, that's a trembling heart.
That's a trembling heart, right? Yep. Read on that.
And falling of eyes and sorrow of mind.
And we don't believe. Think about it. Biggie said either you got a wicked jump shot or you selling crack rock, right? We don't have, we can't even see. We have failing of eyes. We can't see past the ghetto.
No.
We can't see past the hood. We can't see past the I don't want to use no cuss words. Right. So I'm going to say we can't see past the mess that we set up for ourselves by being disobedient to these commandments. Right? Read on for me.
Verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. And thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life.
And this is what we're dealing with, right? Every day, we don't know. We worried about work. Hey, you don't be late to work.
Yep.
We worried about that.
You better be on time.
Police pull us over. What my mom had to, and I'm sure a lot of us have had to talk with our parents where they tell you, police pull you over? Yes, sir. No, sir. Keep your hands on the wheel. Like, man, I pay your salary. You pulling me over. What you want?
Right.
Write this ticket so I can go about my business, man.
Yep.
But we can't act like that because our life hangs in the balance, and it's all because of our disobedience, you guys. We have no military might because our disobedience to the Most High in Christ. We got to come back to these words. This living water.
That's living water. That's right.
That's all I wanted.
That's an excellent point, though. And they say it's fear that the police fear you. That's why you get shot, but it ain't fear, it's hatred.
It's hatred. Say that.
It's not fear, it's hatred. Because the Bible tells you that Esau is a cunning hunter, a cunning, very good at what he does. And
yes,
the cunning hunter claim fear after he kills you rather than hatred. Because if I hatred, you know, it ain't no remedy for that. But if I claim fear, because all you got to do as a civil servant is say that you felt like your life was in danger.
In danger, yes, sir.
And yes, sir. After that happens.
Think about it, how many hunters kill the deer and then say, well, I was afraid, that's why I shot him. No, you was hunting him. Hey, we are the hunted, Israel. We are the hunted.
Yeah, they don't fear us. They not gonna fight you in a fair fight. Most of us that know ourselves, but they don't. They have a gun. That gun takes away all the fear.
All that fear.
All that fear.
God.
All that fear. You know, so you know that's the class for today, and I pray that you guys understand and got some precepts, got a good understanding of what we're trying to do. You know, I think we need to start unifying. We need to start working on gathering with our people. And I told the brother I talked to today, I said, brother, you need to start gathering. Every person that I know understands the truth and asks me questions about being an Israelite. I always tell them, hey man, start gathering with your people. And I'm not trying to get people to come to my congregation. I'm fine. I'm fine. If it ain't number 3 people come, I'm fine. I don't care about that. But what I do care about is helping my people to keep the laws.
Yes, sir.
I care about helping my people to get themselves together. You know,
yes, sir.
Get with the spirits that you can that you're comfortable with, people that you're comfortable being around, because you're gonna have to learn some group of people, and it's never gonna be perfect. But I want to get my people used to being around each other, to loving on each other, to doing feast days together, to doing high holy days together, Sabbath days together. And so I implore all my people to start gathering. Some people say they gathering hey man, whatever you do, whatever you think is working out for you, if you at your home with a couple of, invite some families to your home, invite somebody to come to your house. If you want to host, or y'all take turns going to each other's house. I know a congregation that does that.
Yeah, me too.
That do that. You know, shout out to my brother Tony Israel. He does that. And that's fine. But I do employ all my people to start loving on your people, start coming out and start gathering one another. Like it says in Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, O nation.
Not desired.
Hey, gather together, right? So
God.
That's all I got today, man.
Hey, fire lesson, big bro.
All praises, man. Thank you once again for being here. Thank you for everything, brother. I pray that we continue to do this and push this word and help our people to the best of our ability until God call us home. I pray that we continue to have this going on. All praise to the Most High.
All praise
To my brother. And with that, I say shalom.
Shalom, big bro.
Shalom, brother.